Hey, what's up, folks? I hope you're doing well. By now, you should already know about SwiftUI, which is a new way for us iOS developers to go and create UI code without actually having to write so much code and bothering with storyboards or zip files. And it's an incredible framework that has just been introduced. It's still on beta, and I would like to show you how you can actually get started with this and go and implement some of your UIs on your side projects, or if you just want to play around with it. And it's very fun, although you're gonna encounter tons and tons of bugs as of right now, but don't worry, it's gonna get fixed and new things are gonna be added, the framework will get improved, and so on. So let me just show you what we're going to be building today, what I'm going to show you how to do. All right, so right here, this is a prototype app that I created using SwiftUI, and it's just a simple view detail app which has like a carousel of people. It's Apple leadership people, and a table view down here, and tapping on each cell it will open a detail about this person. And I'm gonna show you how simple it is to create this. There's no more like table view delegates and data sources to go and implement, and then item for index path and bothering with index paths in general, and so on. So it's pretty simple. However, if you would like to start with this project, SwiftUI works on Xcode 11. Currently it's in a beta version. If you're watching this video right now, while Xcode is on a beta, you will need the Xcode 11 beta. And you're gonna see on this video also live previews that Xcode 11 has, but to use those, you will need also macOS Catalina. I'm running Catalina in this one, so you'll be able to see a live preview. However, you can still use SwiftUI on Mojave, but you will need Xcode 11. But in this case, you will need to compile to a simulator rather than be running on a live preview canvas. All right, so yeah, as you could see, we're gonna go and start building this kind of application. And to do that, we will need to open our Xcode and create a new project. This is gonna be a single view application. And for your project to have or to use SwiftUI, you will need to check this checkbox, use SwiftUI. It's really important. And also, let's call this project Apple Leadership and click next. All right, great. I'm gonna expand this, close the right bar, and in here you will see this is how SwiftUI code is now structured. Basically, you will see a struct view now in SwiftUI. Our views are structs, and that has a body, and it returns some view, which in this case it returns text. So every SwiftUI view should return one view and one view only. So when you see a view that contains a lot of things, a carousel, a table view, an image, and so on, that is basically a stack view that has a lot of views stacked in it. So in this case, you're going to be returning a vertical stack, horizontal stack, a list, or some kind of view that can contain a lot of other views. And in this case, you're returning just one view. And Apple provides us with like a vertical stack view, a horizontal stack view, a Z stack view, which means that you can stack things on top of each other, a list, which is like a table view, and so on. So looking at this, if you press the resume button on the canvas, you'll be able to see the live preview, and whatever you change in the code, it will automatically super fast adjust it in the canvas. So you will see I'm changing the text and it already adapts in here. And in here you will see something new, an if debug and if statement, which will be able to actually show this preview with some custom data that you want. So yeah, because this in only for debug, you don't want this in production, we use this kind of if statement. All right. So before we get started, I would like to go and add some assets that I've previously done for this tutorial. So they're in my desktop. In here, I have those images, and I'm just gonna drag them right in my assets catalog. And also, I have a JSON file and a helper Swift file, if this moves correctly. All right, I have this helper method that will be able to load from my JSON and decode it with codable to my structure. This is nothing that really you should worry about. If you're familiar with codable, then this is nothing. But if you're not familiar with codable, I will suggest to watch another video. But this is not the purpose of this video right now. And one last thing, I would like to put my JSON file that we're gonna read those structures. So my people, leadership people are right here in this JSON, and we're gonna decode it with the helper that I added. All right, so let's go back to our content view. I'm gonna close this. I hope this is big enough. First of all, I would like to refactor this to something like a leader detail. So I would like to start with my DetailView controller, which if you open the simulator, you'll be able to see it has an image, a name, and a title. All right, so let's go and see how we are to do this. Okay, failed, try again. Xcode giving some troubles. All right, so here we have our canvas, and I'm gonna just small this. All right, we have our canvas that returns right now a text. In this case, we don't want a text. We would like to return a vertical stack, since our image and our text labels are stuck on top of each other. And in this case, we want an image, and let's return Tim Cook for now. All right, you can see Tim Cook has been returned, but because the image is enormous, you can see the actual rectangle of it outside the simulator. And we're gonna go and figure this out with something that's called modifiers. So modifiers are some kind of functions that modify your view. So in this case, what we want to have this image, we want it to be resizable so that we can resize and play around with it. So you just call resizable like this, and you can see our image now fits in the whole application view. But this is not what we actually want. We would like to keep the aspect ratio of it so that we don't stretch our images and make them ugly. So to do that, you just call a modifier called aspect ratio, and in the aspect ratio you can provide a length and a content mode. Now I've played around a lot with it, and I found that if you want to have what you want, you're gonna have to play with a bit of magic numbers in here. And the aspect ratio that really worked for me in this case is the 2 divided by 1. I know it's 2, so if I just put 2 won't work. You have to say 2 divided by 1, and the content mode that I want is .fill. So like this, the image fills our frame. In this case, is the whole height of the iPhone. And since I don't want it to be the whole height of the iPhone, I'll just like to restrict the frame to have the width size of our phone. In this case, you can just say frame width, and I'm gonna use UI screen.main.width. So that size dot no, it's bounds. Yep, bounds.width. And all right, now you can see the width has shrunk. All right, the image is a bit high, but we're gonna fix that in a bit. So right now what we want is a text thing that will give us his name. So this is Tim Cook. All right, and start appearing in there, and another text saying that he is the CEO. All right, so we kind of have what we want, but we need modifiers to make it look nice. So my name is gonna be a bold modifier, so I want it real bold, and I want it also to be a huge font, so I'll put a large large title in here. All right. And for the title, I'm gonna leave it as it is. Now you can see that everything is centered, and that's not what I want. I would like to have an alignment on the vertical stack that is gonna be a leading alignment, so it puts everything on the side. Great. All right, so right now what you can see is Tim Cook is taking the whole place, right? And you can barely see your title and the name down there. And to do that, to fix that, you'd like to push everything on the top, because I want everything to be underneath the navigation bar, right? So how can you push your content on the top, since SwiftUI actually centers everything? Well, it's very simple. There's a view called Spacer that will help us with that. So Spacer actually fills up the whole space underneath your content. So if you want to have one view, let's say, on the left side and one view on the right side, you put them in a horizontal stack that one will be, so let's say you have an image on the left, and then you put a spacer, and then you put another image on the right. And like this, the spacer fills up the whole space in between. In this case, it just fills the whole space underneath. And like this, we're getting the result that we wanted, as you can see also in the simulator. All right, let's continue. Now, it's nice what we created. However, it uses hardcode values, and you'd like to actually implement something that will use your data to fill up the views. So to do that, we will go and create a new file, Swift file, that's called leader, and our leader is a struct leader, which needs to be identifiable, and to do identifiable we need to import SwiftUI. So identifiable help us with, instead of having index paths and um, figuring out where your cell is to be a unique cell and so on, identifiable help us to actually identify that kind of struct, since we're using value types and everything, to know that this struct, this person, this leader is a unique person, so we don't mix them with another person that has the same details. And for the identifiable to work, you will need to have an ID in your struct. That's why if you saw in the JSON before, we had the ID that was distinguishing those two. All right. And also we want it to be codable so that we can decode it from JSON and my helper method. So you can see that type leader does not conform to protocol identifiable, which this is an ID and this is an integer. So just putting the ID, it fixes what we want. And looking at our JSON, we also have a name, a title, and an image name that are also strings. So you can say name, title, and image name that are string. All right, so that is our leader. And going back to our helper method, I have a commented line out, which is a leader's data, a global variable that I can actually go and uh, fill up the test data that I want around my views, which is an array of leaders that loads from my JSON. Great. So going back to the leader, and I'm gonna open the canvas again. All right. We would like to have a structure in here called letLeader. So we're gonna be passing our leader in our leader detail. And now that we have the leader in our struct, we can just say leader.imageName, and in here leader.name, and in here the leader.title. And now this is complaining that it's missing some parameters. So what you can do is leader, and then you can say leader's data, and I'm gonna put 0. And if I resume, this fails because our scene delegate now also needs to fill up the leader's data. This is what our app actually runs. It's like an application did launch, but they changed it now to scene delegate. And now going back to our leader detail and resuming, try again and resume. Now you don't see any changes, but there are actually changes, because if I put number 1, you can see Jonathan Ivy, number 2, Craig Federighi, and so on. Now, one thing that you'll notice is maybe that there's no padding in those two. And to fix that, you can just simply say add padding in here. And since I want only, you can see that added padding in all cases when you don't specify, but I would like to specify only a leading padding. So it creates a bit of padding in here. And same for my text in here, also just leading is fine. So yeah, now we added some padding and it looks way better. All right, and I'm gonna go back to Tim Cook. Great, now this is our leader detail. Now we would like to go and implement some kind of list and a table view item that when you click it, it actually takes you in here. So to do that, we're gonna go and create a new file. Cancel this, is SwiftUI view again. So next, and we call this leader row. So you're gonna start implementing this table view item, and we're gonna call it leader row because this is gonna be the row that we're gonna be seeing. And if you see in the simulator, I'm talking about this row right here. It has a circle image, the name, and the title. All right. So how can we go and build this? Well, this is quite simple. It's a horizontal stack view that contains an image, and then it contains a vertical stack view of 2 texts. So if we press resume in here, now I don't want to see this in a whole simulator. You can just go in here and see preview layout, and that layout is actually fixed with a width of, let's say, 300 and height of 70. Right, so this is how I would like it to look. I would like to see it as an actual row, how it would look in my table view. All right, so let's go and delete this and go and implement a horizontal stack. This horizontal stack, we said, is going to have an image of like Tim Cook, right? You can see the whole image. Let's go and add some modifiers to this so it looks more nice. It's going to be resizable, and that fits in the whole image. Let's go and give it a frame of width and height of 70. Height of 70. All right. However, the aspect ratio is a bit ruined, right? It's very stretched. If we go and do the same thing that we did before, aspect ratio 2 divided by 1 with a content mode of fill, then we see our image gets the correct aspect ratio. Now, this is right now a square, right? I would like to add maybe a circle view, like to clip the shape in a circle, and also add like a border and a bit of shadow. So let's start with the shadow. Actually, you can just say shadow, and you can just give it a radius of 5. So you can see now our shadow is right here. And if I zoom in more, you will see that the image, because it's a rectangle, has the shadow around here. Okay, let's go and actually clip shape and say circle. So I want to clip it into a shape and add it into a circle. And simple as that, it added to a circle. And you can see the results pretty fast. Now, I would also like to add a border. If you want, you cannot add it. I just want to show you how you can actually go and add a border if you need to. And the way I found this is like you add an overlay of some kind of shape, and this shape is a circle with stroke, which this, yes, you can see it's already added, but you can actually go and say like you want the color to be like a gray, gray like this, and then line width 1. Okay, now if I want to put like 0.5, it won't work. For some reason, SwiftUI is still on beta version, and if you put like 1 point something, 0 point something, the point value doesn't work. So if you want like half, you will say 1 divided by 2, and that will actually go and implement the 0.1. So like this, I have the image already on my cell. Now I would like to go and add a vertical stack that will have the two texts. So in this one, I'm gonna say text and another text like this. All right, so now that we have the two texts, I'm gonna add like Tim Cook in here and also CEO to see how it looks. All right, now again, everything is centered. We want to push it everything to the left. What you need is to add a spacer and push the whole view to the left. So yeah, in horizontal stack views, if you want something to be on the left or on the right, you add spacers to fill up this. And this vertical stack, we need an alignment actually in here for leading, and those two to be on top of each other like this. And now let's go and add some modifiers to our texts. In this one, I would just like to have font of headline and this font of subheadline. Great. And this is basically our row. I'm not gonna do any other changes. However, again, we have hard-coded value. So the same as before, we will have to go and implement a structure here, and this is actually a leader. And then we can say leader.imageName, leader.name, and that's a leader dot title. All right, now this will complain that this doesn't have a leader, so you go and pass your leader's data 0. And because you're seeing the same data, you're not gonna notice the difference. If I press resume, I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it down, and then I'm gonna add another preview. So press try again. Oh, yeah, since again it needs to return just one view, we're gonna return a group of views in this case, and this group of views is like this. And there we go. We have Tim Cook and John Ivy on our preview canvas. Great. Now that we created a row, we want to go and create our actual list. And this is gonna be the main navigation view. So let's go create a new file, a SwiftUI view, and call this leader list. And resume. All right, let's start with implementing some stuff. First of all, what we will need to have a data of all our leaders to show. So in this case, these leaders, and this an array of leaders. Okay, so when it's asked for our here, we can pass our leaders data. Leaders data is again the test data that I decoded from our JSON. All right, so what we would like to do is we would like to create a list that will take our leaders data, and then they will return us a leader in, and we want to do something with this kind of leader. And we can just simply say leader row with a leader and the leader that we have in here. And just doing this, automatically everything is fulfilled. We already have a table view with all the data that we want. Simple as that. However, right now they're not tappable and it doesn't look nice. So what we would like to do is maybe go and add a navigation view and to have a nice navigation bar. So I'm just gonna embed this in a navigation view, and we would like to add a navigation bar title. So this is a navigation bar title, I guess, and this gets a text of Apple leadership, if I'm correct. All right, now I'm gonna need to fix a bit this. Great. So Now that we have those, we would like to be able to tap them and to open our leader detail. And to do that, we would like to add a navigation button. So going in here and say navigation button, if you open, this has a destination, and our destination is our leader detail, and opening it, and we're gonna pass the leader that was tapped, and we don't need this kind of label in here. And then you encapsulate this leader row in brackets for the navigation button. So let's fix a bit our code, and you can see automatically it went and it added that arrow. So with preview canvases, I can just press the play button in here and I can actually go and interact with my app. So right now I can go and scroll, and you can see the navigation bar automatically shrinks to on the top, and pressing Tim Cook will actually open my leader detail, which is Tim Cook in here, and so on. That is great. Now, in the simulator, I also would like to show you how you can go and create a carousel instead of just a table view, because carousels are really important. A lot of apps have them, and you would like to know how to go and implement one. So as always, same thing, we go and create a new SwiftUI view and call this leader carousel. Yeah, great. And I'm gonna resume this. So looking at the simulator, my carousel has a label, and then in here a horizontal stack view of leaders, which is basically just images. So as you could see, a vertical stack view that contains a text, and then this kind of view in here. So let's go and create this kind of thing. So this is a vertical stack that has a text called carousel. Yeah. And also it will contain a scroll view of horizontal items. So this is a scroll view, and we also say shows horizontal indicator to false. We don't want to see that the scrolling indicator in there. So now that we have the scroll view, we also want to have a horizontal stack of images. So those images are our leader images, and I'll need some kind of data. So I'll need to say let leaders in here, it's again an array of leader, so that I can play around with that data. And same thing here, I can do leaders data. So right now I will need to go and say for each, so I'm gonna loop for each leader, and I can just pass leaders in here, and for each leader I get a leader, and I can do something with that leader, which in this case is present the image of my leader. And so I can say image and then leader.image name. Okay, if I press try again, will this run? Okay, so because they're huge images right now, we might be able to scroll. Let me see. So yeah, you can able to scroll, but the images are huge, so we would like to go and resize them. And to resize them, you can just say dot resizable. This image is resizable. Now that will make it a bit smaller. And we would like to go and say an aspect ratio, again of 2:1 with a content mode to fill. And we would like to give them a frame. And this one I would like them to be a bit bigger than our actually table view row, so I'm going to give them of 140 and a height of 140 as well. All right, so now I have something better in here, not completely, but we're going to fix it. I would also like to clip the images into a shape of a circle. Right, great, now that looks way better. And I'm gonna add an overlay of a circle stroke, command stroke, with a color.gray and line width of 1 divided by 2. And yeah, that is it. There we have the carousel. Oh, and the carousel in here, it's showing like this. So I need to say alignment of leading. And this shows. I would also need to give to my carousel a frame so it knows how to display itself um, in the content that I'm gonna show it. So I will say a frame in here is going to be of a height of 200. I think 200 will be nice. And if I press my vertical stack view, done with this one. So if I press my vertical stack view, you can actually see it in here. This is our carousel right now. Great, so let's go and add it into our list that we created previously. So we created this leader list in here, and now we will have to refactor a bit our code in here. So since we are not returning just a list of items, we're going to return a list of different views, a list of a carousel and a table view. Because we want everything to be scrollable so that you can scroll the carousel, our carousel needs to be inside the list. So how do we refactor this? Well, you're going to go and create a list, and this is going to be embedded in there, but it's not going to be called at least list anymore, and this is going to change to for each. And right now nothing changes. Great. However, in here we would also like to call leaders carousel with all the leaders that we have, and let's see how this would look like. So we are adding the carousel. All right, so we can interact with it. If I press resume, I cannot interact with it yet. Okay, so I have my carousel in here and my buttons in here. Great. This kind of works right now, but you can see that this one has some kind of padding, so I would like to add extra modifiers to it. So in this case, I would like to say frame to have a different width of a UI screen dot main dot bounds dot width, and this will kind of expand it on one side. However, does not fix it on this side. So I will just go and say add a padding to the leading of the view with -20, and that makes it great. Now I want to be able also to tap on this and my navigation to take me to the leader detail. To do this, I just simply can go back to the leader carousel, and let me fix a bit in here. Now this image takes a lot of code in here, so I'm just gonna command click it and then extract subview, and then this gets extracted into a subview, and then you can just refactor and rename it to circle, oops, yeah, circle image, just like this, just to make it more clear for us of what exactly is happening in here. And because we extracted it, the circle image needs to get a leader, so it knows what to present, and that is, we'll get a leader. So in the circle image, we're passing a leader, and that is our leader in the for each method. So resuming will take us back to the same result as we had before. Now, I would like to tap those images. So the same as we did before, we need to add a navigation button with a destination to our leader detail, and we are passing the leader of the item, and then we encapsulate the image in a block. Oh, what happened now that we added it to the navigation button? Our image disappeared. And to fix this, we simply just need to have a rendering mode in here, rendering mode, and that rendering mode is original. So by doing that, you can see again the image. Great. So that was everything right now. We created our list, we created our rows, and this is our view. So I can scroll it, I can tap on things, and then they take me to the right place. One thing that you will notice, if I something really cool with SwiftUI is like you can add environment variables, and you can test your accessibility and different color schemes and so on just in here with a preview. So if I have a color scheme like this, dark, automatically all my black text translates into white, and my white background goes automatically to black, and so on, so without me doing any extra work. So what I wanted to say is something that in dark mode you will be able to notice for this project is when you select an image. So if it's, I'm gonna pause this, play it. If you select the image, so if you remember, the image was quite huge and we played a bit with aspect ratios and width to make it feel like this. But going back, you will see that the image keeps its frame. So when you dismiss the view, you can actually see it. And the way to fix it, if we go back to our leader detail, and this is our image, if we clip that image, then this actually crops the whole frame that is outside the view. So if I go back to my leader and I press it, I no longer see the image being dismissed together with the whole view. Great. One thing, since this is working in the canvas, you would like to compile your code to be able to run on the simulator. What you have to do is your root view controller here needs to change. So in here you will need to pass a leader list with your data of leaders data. And running this on a simulator will work as expected. So let's just run it and see. So our simulator is running, and here is our view. Great. So that was just the beginning of a SwiftUI course. We played around with how we can actually go and start implementing some simple views, and we saw also some accessibility features that SwiftUI has that help us with our code being more accessible, our views being more accessible generally. And it was quite fun. If you had to go and implement that, you will have to use a collection view with the data source and delegate and flow layout to be able to scroll horizontally the carousel, then add that in a table view cell so that it can be part of your table view, and then go and implement table view cells and table view delegates and data sources, and so many things that are gonna blow your mind. You're gonna take hours to actually do, and in so little time we thought, caring too much about data sources, delegates, and what and this, we go and simply implement some simple views and we plug and play them. It's pretty simple, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope in the next videos we're gonna go more in details into SwiftUI, like how you can have your network requests in there, loading images from the internet instead of your bundle, and so on. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you folks in the next one. Bye.